Salvatore Maranzano was born in Castellammare del Golfo, Sicily, July 31st, 1886. He was the leader of what would later be known as the Bonanno family. He briefly joined the priesthood, but eventually left that and joined the mob. He left Sicily after World War I and settled in the Bronx, New York. He was the youngest of 12 children, born to Demetrio Maranzano and Antonio Pisciata. He was fascinated with Julius Caesar and enjoyed talks to the subject with his New York Mafia members. He was greatly respected by people in the life.
When Maranzano became the boss, he did something smart. He was the one that made up the 5 families of New York.
His boss, Don Vito Ferro, wanted to control the New York Mafia from his chair in Sicily. So he sent Maranzano. He really just sent him there because he wanted power, but he wasn't going to leave Sicily. So he just sent this guy Maranzano over there, basically like vouching for him, wanted him to be a boss and pretty much take over all the control over there so they can make a lot of money. When Maranzano got there, he became a real estate broker, and he used that as a front for his bootlegging business. He also got into prostitution and narcotic smuggling. He mentored famous mobster Joseph Bonanno. Eventually, Bonanno would become a boss. Maranzano started a bloody war with Joe Masseria, who was then boss of all bosses. This happened in 1930. By 1931, the war would rage on, where small street thug and later boss of all bosses, Lucky Luciano, would help Maranzano kill Masseria due to Masseria not wanting peace with Maranzano, which caused problems. Luciano believed that Masseria was a mustache Pete. He was like the type of guy, he would just come in, you had to kiss his feet, kick money up to him. He really didn't like outsiders. He wasn't open to doing business with anyone but Sicilians. And this really kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because it kept the mob very small when it could have grown bigger. Luciano struck a deal with Maranzano where he would get rid of Masseria in exchange for getting Masseria's rackets and becoming the underboss of Maranzano's operation. Masseria had a lot of love for Luciano. You know, he was a young kid. He was good at what he did. He was good at getting rid of people. He seemed loyal. So he invited Luciano to dinner, but that would be his last dinner. Luciano went to the bathroom as a guise to remove him from involvement because it was really frowned upon to kill a boss. It wasn't that you couldn't beat a boss, but people really wouldn't trust you anymore. While in the bathroom, famous mobsters Vito Genovese, Albert Anastasia, Joe Adonis, and Ben Siegel gunned down Masseria during a card game. After Maranzano got rid of Masseria, he formed the 5 families and made it so you had to be full Italian, both parents, to join the mob. The heads of the 5 families would be Salvatore Luciano, Joe Profaci, Tommy Gagliano, Vincent Magano, and himself. He set up the structure as boss, which was just the head of the organization, really. He just collected money, sat back. He just communicated with the underboss. Then you have underboss, which was truly the boss of the family because he would talk to the capo regimes. He would talk to the street soldiers. He would talk to sometimes the associates. He really ran the mob for the boss. The boss was just pretty much the face. And he was the one who would really go to the big meetings with other big bosses. Or just guys, they have their own street crew. So each capo has their own crew and they just report to the underboss. really kicking up money up the chain. Then you have your street soldiers. These are the foot soldiers. They put in all the work, you know. They do most of the shootings, most of the extortion, stuff like that. And you have associates. These are just people who are cool with the mob, usually not Italian or Sicilian. That's why they can't be in the mob, so they're just like hanging out. They might still be hitmen or help with extortion, but they're just not made members. They're not protected by that. He called a meeting declaring himself capo di capi, or boss of all bosses. He watered down other members' rackets to boost his own up. This really angered and upset a lot of people because they felt like he was just another mustache beat. Luciano acted like it was okay, but he secretly planned to take out Maranzano. He wanted power and he really was just tired of the old ways of the mafia. He felt they were just much too greedy. Even though Maranzano was better than Masseria, Maranzano still had a problem with some of the people Luciano hung out with, like his childhood friends Meyer Lansky and Ben Siegel. He also didn't like Frank Costello because he was from Calabria in Italy. He believed that only Sicilians should be working with the mob. After his attempt at modeling the mob after Caesar's military, his arrogant treatment of members, and all the other things he did, including being a mustache Pete, Luciano and his friends just had enough. They were fed up. In September 1931, Maranzano realized that Luciano was a threat and would eventually come to his spot. So he hired freelance hitman Mad Dog Cawley to kill Luciano. But Tommy Lucchese warned Luciano of the hit. Maranzano ordered Luciano and Vito Genovese to attend a meeting at his office in Manhattan. But Luciano felt he would be killed, so he ordered 4 Jewish hitmen whose faces wouldn't be recognized to go to the office disguised as federal agents. Tommy Lucchese went to point out Maranzano to the hitman because they didn't know who they were coming to get. Maranzano's guards were disarmed and Maranzano was stabbed and shot, putting an end to his time as capo di capi. Luciano then appointed himself the boss of all bosses and removed the term, believing it would cause tension. He made everyone a boss. He elected to have a commission which would pass votes like a corporation. Maranzano is buried at St. John's Cemetery in Queens, New York, and is credited for playing a big role in structuring the mafia despite the controversy behind his treatment of others.